Newcastle 1, Manchester United 1, a draw at St James's Park. A result, to be honest, that flattered Man United. The amount of chances Newcastle had, the few chances United had, that we never looked like winning the game. One of those performances where you look at it and go, what's changed? What is different? What is different to the performances that got the manager sacked 2 months ago to now? Not enough. Nothing I can see has changed there. Jordan and... go on, and start with you. What are your thoughts on that?
Just frustrating, you say. There doesn't seem to be any change, and there's got to be serious questions asked about certain players now, because a game against and no disrespect to Newcastle, and at the end of the day, they played all right, good for them for getting the point. But a team like Newcastle, no disrespect, but that should be an easy game. It should be light work for a team like Man United with the quality that they've got, and the fact that it wasn't, and it was just so difficult. And like you say, there was never a point in that game where I thought would take it. Well, you know what? Sorry, in the second half, there was never a point where I thought we are going to win this game. Like what you said in the watch along, it seemed like it was more going to be a 2-0 finish for Newcastle versus us winning, 2-1, 3-1 or something like that. And it's just really frustrating to watch as a fan when you're not even watching. Sometimes you watch a game and you might be behind, but you're thinking, you know what, we've got this. We had a bad 10 minutes, but we
felt that feeling a lot under Ollie, didn't we? Especially away from home, where we'd go behind and you think, we're behind, but I think we'll do something here. Yeah.
There was not a minute of that game that I was watching it feeling confident, and that to me is the biggest worry. And when you look at the players in that team, and I know there's discussions about COVID and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that because I don't know who's had it or who's not had it to comment. But you look at the players in that starting 11 and the players on the bench as well, the players that came on, world-class players, some of them, on their day. Very talented players, and a lot of them with a lot of really good experience that a game against Newcastle, you shouldn't be in a position like that. So, annoying.
Jordan, give me your thoughts on the game.
It's so annoying that we're looking at it pre-game thinking Newcastle are minus 23 goal difference. They're fighting for relegation. They're going to come out fighting for the game.
10 points from 18 games before the game started.
But we should be absolutely battering them off the pitch if it's 11v11. Now, I don't give a shit about whether X amount of players are out with COVID. Ralph Rangnick is smart enough to not play those players who've been suffering with these problems.
The starting 11 was not all COVID players,
No. He's smart enough to make those decisions. However, those players on the pitch, I said it pre-game that Fred and McTominay are going to play every game because they bring more energy in midfield. I think I need to take that comment back purely because of the fact that there was absolutely no glue between midfield and attack to bring them together. The final third passes were absolutely pants. There was no fluidity. There was no confidence that our midfield was going to pass the ball to our attackers to actually try and have a chance at challenging Dubravka. Newcastle, we made them look like prime Real Madrid at times when they were countering past us. I still think Diogo Dalot and Maguire, they were too easy on the Saint-Maximin goal, and we'll get onto that in a bit, but Varane, United look like absolute sausages after tweeting that eye emoji and the French flag, thinking, he's going to be back, it's exciting.
Worst game
he's had at United. I know he's had all this time off, but irrespective still, they've had 16 days off. Can he not allow some sort of cohesion to build in that amount of time with the players that are on the pitch, because he knows which ones are fit and knows which players aren't fit? How can he not put a team out, whatever formation, that's going to challenge Newcastle United, who are 19th in the league and have conceded so many goals in the league? Yes, they're going to come out fighting, but why are you not putting on a team with enough tactics to break through a likely five at the back?
The thing with it, they weren't even breaking through it. I mean, obviously we didn't make enough chances, but we would they just poured through us over and over again. Varane was very poor. Maguire was very poor. Tellez had his moments where he just gave the ball away or got dispossessed or tackled. Dalot, pretty much, non-existent defensively. Did all right going forward. Obviously, got a few good crosses in. Fred and McTominay, absolutely awful. We saw the worst of both of them. It was just one of those performances where, fair enough, sometimes it's hard to break down a team that is defending, a team that is sitting back, but that's not what happened. There was no Newcastle sit back, we have all the ball. I know you look at the possession, we had 70%, which is obviously a lot of the ball, but that wasn't because Newcastle didn't try anything. They had more shots on target than us. They were more dangerous than us. They were much more likely to win the game than us. Not just was it 1-1, the other chances we had was one scuffed Cavani shot and Cavani trying to chip the ball from 20 yards because the goalie made a bit of a flap of it. They had inside the post, they had a ball that was about 3 inches wide from the shot from the left-hand side. They had 2 or 3 De Gea wonder saves. They had Saint-Maximin side-footing the ball straight at the goal, or not straight at the goalkeeper, but at 2 miles an hour from 2 yards out. They had tons of chances above and beyond the goal that they scored. And it's just shocking. And again, it's not that, against maybe a top team in Europe, you go, bloody hell, we've come through that with a 1-1. This is one of the worst teams in England. This is a team that people are laughing at because they've got hundreds of billions in the bank and they're going to get relegated. And they still might well get relegated because they've got 11 points from 19 games. Burnley have got 11 points, are currently above them and have played 4 games less. So there's a good chance Newcastle go down this season. And that's how we play against them. Not only did we struggle to make chances, we couldn't stop them making chances. And that's the thing I don't understand. It's just, we saw the worst of so many players. Bruno had too much to do again. I actually thought he did a lot of good things. He did a lot of frustrating things as well, but at least he did some good things. Rashford was shocking. Ronaldo didn't get into the game enough, and you can say what you want about how good he is and what he's done in the past. Cavani came on and looked twice as dangerous as Ronaldo did. So, for all his whinging and whining, sometimes we need you to do more than that. Because, yes, it's good that you've got us out of some tight situations, and I think he's been overall a massive success this season, but that doesn't mean on a game-by-game basis you're not allowed to criticise him. He wasn't very good today. Rashford was shocking. I don't know why he didn't come off. I thought Sancho was all right when he came on, but there's just so many performances in there. When you're making 2 changes at half-time, things have gone very wrong, haven't they? And I think, if there was 5 changes available, he might have made more than 2 at half-time, to be honest, because basically, other than saving himself a sub for later in the second half, they could have taken 5 or 6 players off in that first half. Absolutely woeful. And the thing that worries me is, no one's sitting here saying Rangnick's shit. But the problem is, we aren't seeing a change. And for so long, you weren't allowed to criticise the players at United because everyone had decided across the board, this is Ollie's fault. And if it's not his fault, it's Phelan's fault. And if it's not his fault, it's Carrick's fault and it's McKenna's fault. They're all gone now. And we're still seeing the same players playing like they don't know what they're doing, like they haven't been taught anything, like they haven't been coached, they don't know where to stand, they don't know how to defend, they can't track back, they can't do anything. But this is 3 years, 4 years, 5 years into some of these players being at Manchester United, and we're not seeing them get any better no matter who manages them. It's very, very early under Rangnick, I understand that, and I'm not ruling him out. I like him. I think there's great things ahead under him, I really do. But some of these players really need to be held to account, like you said, because for so long they got a free pass because we all decided it was the manager's fault. You can't criticise the players because you're deflecting from Ollie. Maguire, awful. Varane, not very good today, but again, it's one of his worst games. He doesn't have too many for United, but very poor today. Rashford's been poor for 6 weeks. There's too many bad performances week in, week out, and you can't just blame the manager for everything. And now that people don't want to blame the manager because he's the new thing, we can actually say what the truth is, which is too many of these players are taking the piss.
It's the thing is, it's from within. It's got nothing to do with Newcastle. We didn't win that game because we couldn't put passes together. Simple passes. We weren't attempting them when they were on, and I think specifically a couple of times Fred did it, a couple of times McTominay did it. We're not feeding our strikers. No one's going for over-the-top balls when they're running in behind. It's on us. It's nothing to do with Newcastle, performance. Yeah. They just played their game and they saw the opportunities when they come because of the mistakes that we made. It's got nothing to do with them that they drew this game 1-1. It's all created by us. And I don't know whether it's because Ralph Rangnick talks so openly now that we're more inclined to go for the players now because we don't want to throw the manager under for a bad performance because he's only been in the job 4 games. Whether that's positive for us to actually go for the players now and actually put some blame, I think it absolutely is, because that proves changes need to be made. And it's been said for years now. The same players who threw Ollie under will throw any manager, doesn't matter what name it is, they will, if they don't They don't change the spots. Whatever the bleeding saying is, leopards or whatever.
That's it. That is it.
Yeah.
They don't change the
Leopards
spots.
don't
Whatever
change
saying
their
is
spots.
leopards.
And I just
whatever.
don't understand why
Smashed it.
it's now.
Yeah.
It's come up until this point for us to actually put some blame on the people who are on the pitch
Yeah, and
who
I think-
can't perform.
I think people have, we've been open and criticised players, and said that players have had bad games. But the pushback, just generally across United fans, so especially on social media, was it's not the players, stop deflecting from the manager, because everyone had just decided that was the problem. And I think people did try and say Maguire's having a shit game, or Shaw's been shit, or Rashford's not been good enough, but that wasn't allowed to be spoken about as openly, because the immediate response is it's Ollie's fault. What you on about? Better tactics will get better players. I mean, it's so early under Rangnick. Potentially, a 1-1 draw away at Newcastle. You look back at that at the end of the season. That's probably not going to define where United finish. But it just was so poor today, and so much of the game you sat there going, they're better than us, and that's not good enough. We've got a few super chats.
Yeah, go on.
Alpha Omega, all things considered, it wasn't a bad result. Of course, we'll be out of form after postponing 2 games, and we're playing with an all-new back four.
But look at other teams that have been postponed. Have they all had terrible games as well?
No, Wolves, no.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I understand, but I just don't think that you can use that as an excuse, because other teams have had games postponed. Are they all doing absolutely terribly?
Yeah,
Are they
no.
all completely bombing against teams like Newcastle? Yeah, they've not played Newcastle, but
Was it
I
Tottenham
just
spanked someone the other day, and they've had games postponed, haven't
yeah, and I understand completely, but
Yeah.
no one else is performing so
they?
terribly.
United Forever podcast said the criticism of McTominay is infuriating. Most duels won, and literally every aerial duel won. 7 ball recoveries, put in another solid shift.
Those stats are great, yeah. They're
Yeah.
fantastic for an individual, but what did that do for the performance?
What about the team?
He played 2 good final third passes all game. Yes, his stats are saying most ball recoveries won. Why is he having to go and recover the ball that much?
And what happened
Because
after
there's
it was
mistakes,
recovered?
and what happened after
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
He can stat pad all he wants, but the whole point is that these players aren't putting in the performances that we need. And I don't think we should be looking further ahead towards the end of the season. Look at now.
Yeah.
Look at right now, because our season's done anyway. We're fighting for top 4. That should mean the season's done anyway, because United shouldn't be fighting for the top 4. They should go on for the league period. So they shouldn't even be considering about the end of the season. Think about now. We're 8 points behind that. We're 7 points behind Arsenal, who we were taking the piss out of 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now we're trying to play catch up because they've got 2
We're 7
games
points
ahead of
behind
them.
with 2 games in, and obviously, if we play like that, that'll stay around 7 points. But there is some solace there
We're
potentially.
supposed to be going. Sorry,
Yeah, of course.
we're supposed to be going into a favourable run of fixtures now. We
Yeah.
were all looking ahead after the past 3 or 4 games where we had Liverpool, City, Chelsea, all congested in like a 4 or 5 game period, thinking, all right, this is where we're going to take advantage now. Performances like that is just going to do absolutely nothing for our position.
It is worth mentioning, though, since that easier run began, we've won 2 and drawn 1 in the league. So it's not completely terrible. Do you know what I mean? We won.
Yeah,
We
it's-
did
yeah,
beat Norwich.
you're
so
right.
We played badly, but we beat Norwich.
You're
We
right.
didn't play great, but we beat Palace. We didn't play great, but we drew today. So yes, it's
Which
not
I
great.
think short
but at
term-
least it's 7 points
Yeah.
from 3 games, which is better than the 5 games before
I understand
it.
what you're
Yeah,
saying
I know
short
your
term.
point.
It's the long term of
Definitely, yeah.
the level of the performances. You're not going to be able to kind of get away
No,
with it. As
and
we
that's
have
what I
done,
was saying
think.
during
Yeah.
the watch along. If you just go head to head, toe to toe, we have a shot on target, you have a shot on target against every team in the league, like United tend to do, we're going to finish, because we've got better players than most teams, we'll probably finish in a European spot.
Sixth.
Might be European, might be Europa, might
Yeah.
be Champions League if we're lucky. But playing a tactic where we just take it in turns having shots on target with every team in the league, that's not going to get you very far. Farouk Al Mahmood says, blame Ollie for the backbone. Fred, McTominay and Maguire. How did Ollie think they're good enough? Maguire slows the tempo down too much. Fred is awful. Ollie didn't sign Fred. Ollie didn't give McTominay his debut. And Ollie did obviously buy Maguire, but I don't think you can blame Ollie
I don't
for
think
Fred.
anyone was
He should be in a
complaining.
conversation right now.
But when
Jose
Maguire-
bought Fred.
Conversation
But
right
when
now.
Maguire was signed, was anybody complaining at the
No,
time?
when he
Everyone
was-
thought
No,
it
'cause
was
he
the
just-
best idea
He just had a
anyone
cracking
had ever
World
had.
Cup,
Yeah.
didn't he? He was mint for England, albeit in a back three where he had Walker to cover him for pace. He was fantastic for England. So everyone was like,
On
oh,
paper, that was
we're
a great
looking-
signing.
We're looking
Yeah.
for a centre-half. Yeah, we've overpaid, but we need that solidarity at the back. And what's happened, he might have not been the best player in form right now, but that's what we've got now. The best centre-half pairing we've got right now is Raphael Varane, who's consistently injured, or he has been since he's been at the club, and Harry Maguire. That's what we've got now. It's not a point of just saying, oh, blame Ollie for all this and that. Forget about that.
Yeah.
The players we have right now, we have to play. Who he thinks are the best players, he will play. Simple as that. It just so happens that Maguire, no pace, can't turn. Varane, poor game, but he's only just come back from injury, so maybe lay off him ever so slightly. But that's what we've got. We have to keep playing Fred and McTominay because you don't trust Van der Beek. He's not done enough in a red shirt to warrant a start. Matic, can't play every game. What do you want him to do? It's like he can't win.
My amateur with a super chat, 4-2-2 will not work for us. The players don't know what they're doing because they're in different positions. Wingers playing as attacking midfielders and asking them to play like midfielders. I mean, it's just about learning though, isn't it? It's like saying, oh, well, for instance, Bruno can't do that because he's done this before. We'll just learn something else.
They're not telling him to go play left back, are they?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like, they're not saying...
It's not out of the realms of possibility, the positions that he's asking them to play.
Humza says the cracks were there after Norwich. And I think it is worth mentioning, how long we've been chatting here. We've been chatting for 15 minutes or so. It is worth mentioning that, like I said, a 1-1 draw, yes, the performance was shit, but that isn't the end of the world in terms of a result. We haven't lost. We haven't got battered.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing ever. The performance was really poor. Too many players who have been poor for quite a while have continued to be poor. But let's, a 1-1 away at Newcastle, it's not the worst result in the world. I know it's not good, and I know everything we've said for the last 15 minutes, we know our positions, we know how poor it was, but maybe looking forward, 2 wins and a draw for his first 3 games isn't the end of the world. The thing we need to see is some realisation of the tactics we were promised or the tactics that we were shown briefly in that Crystal Palace game. We seem to have gone backwards since then. And that's the concern for me because we know the players can't pretend that Rangnick doesn't have tactics. You can't pretend that. He's spawned the style of play that has dominated football for the last 5 or 6 years with Klopp, with Tuchel, with Nagelsmann, with these sorts of coaches. That came from him. So we can't pretend that there's no tactics there. So if the players can't implement them at some point, and it's not 3 games in, admittedly, but we would like to see it at some point. At some point, you have to say it's the players because there's no doubt Rangnick knows what he's doing, or certainly he can teach them a certain way, and they aren't playing that way. Philip Lopez, we need 6 new players, bloody hell, to actually challenge next year. Forget about this season. Wish I could be positive, but it's hard after that performance. There's still a chance, still in the Champions League. FA Cup hasn't even started yet. Gareth Blades, thank you for the super chat, mate. Part of the issue is that we can't beat a low block. Atletico will be an issue. Yeah, well, I can't even...
I'm not thinking about Atletico right now.
Because if we play Atletico in the next 2 weeks, we are getting
I'm not even thinking about Atletico right now because
we
were lucky to get a penalty against Norwich and get a win. And if we don't, that's a draw. We're lucky that Jordan Ayew missed the sitter against Crystal Palace because if he scores that, that's another draw. We've dropped 4 points there and we just drew with Newcastle in the favourable run.
Yeah.
Atletico aren't even in the conversation right now because Atletico will absolutely bend us over.
Himanshu says no one can save this team, even if Sir Alex comes out of retirement. These players will perform the same way. The team lacks commitment. We've just seen a stat there of all the players who've given the ball away most. Bruno at the top, as he always is, but that's because he's trying the most. I don't think that's necessarily an issue. Rashford high as well. Dallo high. Sancho, we gave the ball away loads, and that was a huge problem. I think we should call it a day there because it's not getting any better. It don't feel any better. Sorry, one last quick super chat from my amateur says that's the thing about learning when we should be giving them time instead of saying they're not good enough. We can't say the players are still learning and still lack to give them time to learn. I agree, and that's what I was saying before. They need more time to learn, but they have to start showing signs that they are learning. Because maybe at the minute, and let's have a look on the positive side, or not the positive side, but let's have a look at what maybe could have happened. Maybe they've received such an influx of information where they're not training, so they don't have a chance to sort of actualise all of this data, all of this knowledge, all of this sort of book learning they've been given. They're sat at home on a treadmill somewhere, reading and watching video of Rangnick trying to teach them everything. It's like being back at school. Maybe once they've had a few more training sessions on the pitch, like I said, I think they've only had single figures training sessions under him on at Carrington. It's going to take a little while. Maybe we're being a bit harsh, but it wasn't very good today, was it?
No, and I don't think we're being harsh either.
No. Me neither. Right, that's going to be all from us. We will be hearing from Andy and Stephen as we go along in the evening as well, so make sure you stick around for that. Subscribe if you aren't already to the channel. Thank you very much for joining us. Manchester United 1, Newcastle 1. Unbeaten start under Rangnick continues, and that's me looking on the bright side. We'll see you in a bit.